And then there's a third solution, right, which is living trust. So if you have a serious LLC or a simple LLC, what we're gonna do is we're gonna link your LLC with your living trust. That's another way to protect your assets for your families.
Yes, and if you've actually looked at some of our previous videos, we've talked a little bit about what a living trust is. Basically, a living trust is a solution that helps you both as far as with your businesses, like we're talking about today, but it can also help you as far as estate planning and wealth management, in that when you put something in the living trust, you're taking the titles and the deeds that you have to those individual interests, and you're placing them within the trust. So they're no longer owned by you, they're owned by a trust for which you are a beneficiary. One of the reasons that a living trust is a fabulous and business savvy solution is that not only does it hold for you, but you can name your future beneficiaries. And when you do that, what it does is it helps you avoid the probate process, which is particularly important if you have a business. So if you have a business and you're the person that's the main owner of the business and you pass, you don't want the business to be stuck as you wait for the probate process for a series of months, up to even a year, trying to solve a complicated estate planning process. You want that business to go ahead and pass to the next person that you want to take over the business, so that on day one, they can hit the ground running and keep that business going. So by putting that in the living trust, you're again protecting yourself in that you no longer formally own those assets. They're technically held by the trust, and you are merely the beneficiary of the trust. So you're the person that's able to make those decisions, and you're the person for whom the trust benefits, while again having that separation between you and that asset. So it's another layer of protection that you can provide for yourself.
So like we have a client, so the husband is running a restaurant business. If anything happened to him, his wife doesn't know how to run a restaurant, but his son might know how to run a restaurant, and he might need a career. So you need to have those living trusts set up, and then link the LLC with a living trust. So if anything happened to you, or you become incapacitated, your son can step in to manage your restaurant. So your wife doesn't need to be like, she won't stuck in this situation that I don't know how to pay rent and I don't know how to deal with these vendors. Like maybe she will be forced to close the business on day 2. So how we connect the living trust and the LLC is actually, we call it as funding. So we assign the LLC interest to the living trust. So if anything happened to you, your sole ownership will be passed on to the living trust. So someone can pick it up, step in as a manager. And it's also part of the business succession planning as well.
Yeah, so it's important for business succession planning. And I want to point out, even if you're not the sole proprietor, so let's say that you own a 20% interest in a business or any percentage that you can think of, you can name who it is that will be your successor in interest for that business. Because as we said, it's possible that, some of your heirs might not be as savvy for that type of business. So you can set up through the living trust that the money will benefit the family members that would need it. But you can set up a successor in interest that actually has that knowledge that's needed to be able to run the business. So for instance, my dad is a doctor, and so he has a clinic that's the family business. Even though I'm an attorney and one of my siblings is a CPA and another one of my siblings is a pharmacist, so you would think that we would all kind of maybe know how to run a clinic. None of us do. Yeah, so we would not be good successors in interest. We'll have a very hard time trying to run that business. So having a successor in interest for the business that would be able to just keep that running so that it can benefit the people that are in your family that you do want the business to benefit, while still having someone that has that business acumen and the savvy that's needed to be able to keep that business running can be really important. So if we're talking about a real estate investor, like we have been in the second part of this video, let's say that you have a family member that you want to benefit from the rents coming in from your properties, but that family member may not be the best person to run 10 or 12 different properties. You can name a successor in interest as far as your ownership of the LLC, while also having it benefit a family member that you want to have the benefit of the rents.
Great. Yeah. So this is part of business succession. Business succession is also a set of legal document.
Exactly. And so working with that living trust to be able to set up that business succession plan is just another business savvy choice that we think is a fabulous one that we would love for potential clients to know about. And if you'd like to set up a living trust, you can reach out to us or any other attorney to see if that's something that works in your particular estate planning, business succession plan, and life generally. And if you'll see our previous videos, we've talked extensively about the process of creating a living trust and being able to set up a living trust. And again, I would like to point out one of my favorite things about if you did a living trust, specifically with Springdale Law, is we actually will follow up with your trust plan and make sure that the assets that are in that living trust are up to date, and make sure that your funding, which you talked about. A lot of times with other attorney firms, they'll create the living trust for you, but they won't actually walk you through the process of taking the deeds and the titles and physically placing them in the trust. And if you don't go through that funding step, you actually haven't protected any of those assets. They're still your assets. They're not actually placed within the trust. And so yes, you've created a trust, but the trust has nothing in it. So it can't do anything to protect you.
Right.
So not only do we work with you through the funding process to make sure that all your assets are placed within the trust correctly, but we follow up with you every couple of years to make sure that all those assets are up to date and that your entire estate planning and wealth management plan is up to date every year. So again, it's another fabulous business plan that we would suggest to you. And if you'd love to come talk to us about these possible solutions for your business, estate and wealth management, we would love to hear from you. So go ahead and give us a call.
Great. So thank you so much, Katie. And today we talk about 3 solutions about asset protection, right? The first solution, as a small business owners, you need to form a simple LLC. And then the second solution is for the real estate investors. Serious LLC might be a better idea for this type of investors. The third solution is to create a living trust and then have a set of documents regarding the business succession.
Yeah, so if you would like to set up any of those things, please go ahead and give us a call. We are available to do these types of plans in all 50 states.
Great. If you don't want to miss any videos in the future, please remember to subscribe us and give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and we'll see you next time.